Look at shorty, right? What ain't? That's a bad chick. What ain't? Look at shorty, right? What ain't? That's a bad chick. What ain't? What ain't? That's a bad chick. What ain't? Look at shorty, right? What ain't?
Welcome to Full Circle, your source of health, business, and entertainment. And today we are focusing on entertainment. My guest today, my special guest, as I say always, is Dr. Victor A. Buford.
Namaste.
Well, how does they say it? I'm Salam Alaikum. How does it go?
Assalamu alaikum.
See, I had to mess up on something, right?
But that's okay.
So how are you today?
I'm just doing fine. It's great being here with you.
All right. So now, Dr. Victor, come on, let's get these titles, because you had some PhD and some other titles behind that name. Let's talk a little bit about your name.
Well, actually, if you want to start with my college background,
Okay.
I have a PhD in human services as a result of me working in mental health field for the last 25 years.
Okay.
However, during that particular time, while I was providing mental health services to people in need, I was also still following my dream of being a musician.
All right. That's why I'm sitting here thinking the two. How do you put the two together?
Well, I put the two together because I take a holistic approach to meeting the needs of actual people, the needs of the mind, body, and soul. Music takes care of that, takes care of the mind, body, and soul. And that's how I've been using my music for, 30 years probably, maybe going on 40 years.
Oh,
and
wow.
Everybody needs that comfort, everybody needs that spiritual fulfillment, and that's exactly what the music did. And then the PhD background and the learning of how the mind actually works, it allows me to fuse the two things together.
Okay, you basically kind of told us how you actually got started and how long you have been performing.
Yes, actually, I got started, to give a more clear picture of how I got started. I got started when I was maybe 12, 13 years old. There was always music being played around my house. There was always music being played in the neighborhood. And I just found myself moved and attracted by the sound of music. To tell you exactly what happened, when I was about 13 years old, I met this young guy who was just walking down the street with a guitar in his hand. And I said, wow, this looks like a very interesting instrument that you actually have. And at that particular point, we started to have these conversations and dialogues about music. And before I knew it, I had a guitar in my hand. And I was playing 6-string guitar. And I said, well, this sounds okay. But for some reason, I was attracted to those lower strings that had the lower pitch, the bass, and the bass just drove me. And that's how I got started. Just through a coincidental meeting with to somebody just walking down the street.
So from that point, you actually started, had you ever played with a band or?
Well, that was my first band. And
Okay.
I think it was actually 8th grade. And what was interesting about that band, we were
8th grade, wow.
8th grade, we were so serious about the music. All of our equipment, it fit into an A&P shopping cart. And we would put our equipment in this A&P shopping cart and push it around to various different schools. And whoever wanted to listen, whoever wanted to be an audience, we performed for them.
Okay.
I was just that serious about music. I was really in love. At that age, I think I got that music bug.
So did you play through college as well?
Actually, before I got to college, I went to CVS High School, and they had the only music major program in the city of Chicago. I played bass for 4 years there. But what was interesting, not only did I play bass there, I was playing an instrument called oboe as well as English horn, which were actually woodwind instruments. And I would tell people in the neighborhood about the oboe and the English horn, and they would look at me like, what is that? We've never heard of an oboe or English horn, because most people from the neighborhood, they were used to guitars, used to bass and horns, but they were never used to this weird looking instrument that these weird sounds actually came out of. But I had a love for the oboe as well as the English horn and as well as bass. So when I got to CVS, I learned how to play more than one instrument. And as a result of me learning how to play oboe, that's when I moved on to college as a result of an oboe scholarship. But I still played bass. I was never going to stop playing bass because that was the driving instrument behind all of the music that I was involved in.
Oh, okay. Interesting. Wow. So now from that point, from college, what made you start really wanting to work on your own music, start getting your own CD, just being more serious about it?
Well, I think I was serious about music in high school from that particular point.
But when I say serious, we do stuff in high school, even college, and then after we graduate, it's just like, okay, this is just something I'm just doing for fun. So that's why I said, something where you say, oh, this is what I'm going to be doing.
Absolutely. The more I played, the more I listened to music, and the more life experiences I actually had, that's what drove me to become serious. I felt that I had this inner voice that needed to come out, this inner voice that could really speak for the people. And once I discovered I had the ability to speak for the people, and these songs just started coming along. And I tried to avoid writing these songs, but it seemed like the songs were chasing me down. So no matter how much I ran away from these songs, I think a lot of it had to do when I was in college, because I was a political science major. I was all prepared to go off to law school and become a lawyer, but this voice just kept speaking to me, you're a bass player, you're gonna write songs, and one day you're gonna have a CD. And I just could not run away from that voice. No matter how fast I read, that voice that still chased me down.
So speaking of writing, that's another add-on for you as well, because you actually write your own music as well. Right?
Absolutely, absolutely. What happened, once again, going back to high school, I learned how to write there, and I learned how to write songs.
I was going to ask when
that's how I learned how to write. And in high school,
of course, you have to. I mean, you can easily read it, or you should be able to know how to write it as well. It's when you're going through high school, because I never played instruments. So.
It was like learning a foreign language early on, because when I first started out, I was pretty much playing by ear. And I found out in order for me to communicate with other musicians, I had to learn how to read music. It was a painstaking process, but it was worth it. It was worth putting in the extra work to learn how to read music. And now I find myself being able to put some music paper and actually in front of me, wake up 1 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock in the morning, and I'm able to write out these feelings I've had, or these thoughts, and these songs that actually just come into my heart. If I didn't know how to read, they would be songs that would just be lost in the atmosphere.
Okay. So now, my next question actually to you is, what type of music did you start really getting interested in early on?
Like a lot of people who grew up during the 1960s, Motown. I was highly influenced by Motown. I mean, the music and the bass player, James Jamerson, because like I said, I was a bass player, but the Motown sound just grabbed me. It was like magical in a sense. And whenever I would listen to that music, it just had this dream effect on me. It made me say, okay, that's something that I can do, or that's something that I really want to do. And I think also, not only the music, it was during that time that the civil rights movement was actually taking place. So the two things together drove me to become a person who really wanted to be a serious musician.
All right. Very, very interesting. Well, we're going to go to commercial break. We're going to take a real quick break, and when we come back, we're going to finish speaking with the doctor. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Full Circle, and we have the one and only bass player, Dr. Victor A. Buford. Did I say it right?
You got it right.
I got it right. Welcome back. However, before we went to commercial break, I know he's going to say, this woman is crazy. No. But before we went to commercial break, we were actually talking about the type of music that you actually was interested in back then. You said Motown. Who wasn't? I still love Motown. So now, as time went on, let's talk about some of the music that you started really, because things change. So
absolutely, things do change. Although I was really into Motown, music evolved at the end of the 1960s, and it was a different type movement that was coming about. A lot of bass-driven music that was coming through the 1970s, actually, what we would call funk. People like the Brothers Johnson, Larry Graham, Sly and the Family Stone. And what really appealed to me was the fact that I was a bass player myself. Then I heard all of this great bass music that I could actually imitate. And for a while, I really started playing that. And then I started hearing some other forms of bass players that came in, like Stanley Clarke and Jocko, and people like that. So I put away the funk, and I picked up the jazz type sounds.
Okay.
Because I saw myself as not only a person who evolved as a musician, I was evolving as a person. So the two things had to actually had to merge together, and they did merge together. I think they had a major impact in my own development, who I was as a person, who I am today. Each one of those decades represented a form of growth and development. And music was really the driving force behind all of that. So if I were to chronologically define the music that influenced me, it would be Motown first, and then after that it would be maybe like some James Brown, and then we had the funk era. Then after that, I started listening to Earth, Wind and Fire, and when I started listening to them, that just blew the roof off the building for me, because of the fact that you had this large band that actually came along. But not only it was a large band in terms of its membership, each one of those members in that band played a vital role in the total sound of Earth, Wind, and Fire. I mean, this was the first band that actually came along. You had these guitars, you had these flaming horns, you had strings. All of these instruments were like this recipe for this cake. And when they baked that cake for me, I was like, whoa, this is it for me.
All right. Now, I want to talk about your new CD.
Okay.
And it's called You Save Me. You Save Me. Oh, that's what let's talk about the title.
Okay.
I know you're like, she has some great, but let's talk about the title.
Well, it's a very interesting title because every time someone sees that title, they want an explanation. They want to know what it's about. Is it gospel?
Right.
Is it mental health? What is this title? But the title is specific to who I am as a person. Actually, what led me to write this particular CD.
The Bass Angel of Love.
Yes.
The Prince of Mercy. Oh, right. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Don't pay me no man.
That's okay. You're actually helping me out to explain.
Okay.
And you're a perfect example of what I was saying. When people read that title, You Save Me, there are those people from the gospel background that say, oh, are you asking me that God saved you? And I said, yeah, you can interpret that from this particular title. Or for me, it means that I met someone who was very special in my life. I had gotten off track in terms of what I was supposed to be doing in life, in terms of what my purpose was. This person came into my life, and a lot of times I believe she came down from heaven, and God sent her down here. And when we connected, I discovered that we had been in high school for 4 years and didn't even know each other.
Wow.
Didn't know each other, absolutely. And we had passed each other in the halls constantly. And I guess Facebook does work at some particular point, because that's how she found me. And we had a couple of conversations, and it seems like she really looked deep down into my soul in terms of who the person is. Well, if you were in the music department at CVS, are you still playing your music now? And when she asked me that question, the light went on, and then all of a sudden a title just came to me, You Saved Me.
Wow. Very interesting and deep. So that means you're in love. So I'm going to ask that question later on down the line in the show.
Okay.
Are you dating or anything like that? Because now we know, right? She's sitting over there just to cheese it. So now, I want to get back on the CD, but I also want to talk about your attire.
Sure.
The first time I saw you, I said, he's him.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he's not so much as different because you're not the only one that just, you know, but let's talk about your attire. What makes you, yeah.
Well, let me just sum it up shortly and say that I make it my business to wear something African every day because that defines who I am in my heart.
Go ahead on that.
Right. I'm very proud of my heritage. And I feel that I owe a great debt of responsibility to today's youth. And by wearing my African attire, I'm hoping that they will look at this attire and say, this is the way that an African man is supposed to look. And I can derive a sense of pride by wearing these clothes. Okay. And also, too, I'm hoping that members of the opposite sex, women, can say, okay, this is an African man with pride. And maybe this is the type person that I actually should be looking for a boyfriend, for a husband, as well as a father of my children.
All right. And the reason why I asked, because your outfit on the CD cover in the front is very different.
Well, let me talk.
And it's saying something, so let's talk about that.
That particular outfit, I purchased the material in Kumasi, Ghana. That's what it was actually. And actually, I watched the adults and the children when they were on the weaves. I watched them weave that material. And once they finished that particular garment, I flew from Accra, Ghana to Dakar, Senegal, where I had a tailor to actually make the outfit.
Wow. Okay. Very interesting. See, I don't know if the camera guy can get a close-up shot of it, but this is a very nice cover. Mm-hmm. Very, very nice cover.
Thank you.
So now let's get back on the CD. Let's talk about some of the songs on here, because I do see where you have House of Holy, You Save Me. I see several interesting titles to some of the songs on here. Mm-hmm. So let's talk a little bit about some of the titles.
Well, the first song, House of Holy, not only did the title You Save Me set the tone for this album or this CD, but also House of Holy. I've always been a person who has been spiritually driven. Mm-hmm. And I want people to find their own place, their own House of Holy, whether it's Hindu or whether you're Muslim or whether you're Christian. Just find your place where you can find a sense of spiritual enlightenment and let that spiritual enlightenment drive your life on a daily basis. Let that impact your quality of life. And that's where the first song, House of Holy. House of Holy could also mean if you find a special place in your home sometimes, just go to that place and find a sense of prayer and find your own sense of deliverance, your own sense of peace. That's what House of Holy is actually about.
Okay.
Finding your place of peace.
You just smiling when you're explaining it. You seem like you're very, very proud of this CD. Where can you go purchase this CD if some of my viewers are interested in going?
You can go to CD Baby.
Do you perform here in Illinois? How does that work? Because I know you have managers and all these people who got to take a little time to get to you. So how does that work?
Actually, you're right, I do have a manager, I do have a booking agent, and right now they have put together a summer tour for me, and the summer tour will take place during the Midwest. And if you go to my site, it's on Facebook, Dr. Victor A. Buford, the Bass Angel Love, the Prince of Mercy. Those dates will actually be posted.
Okay, all right. And what if people are having private events or private parties? And I mean, because I know you actually have to have your whole team together, I know, but will you come out and perform for different events
Yes.
around?
I'm available for weddings. I'm even available for bar mitzvahs. Wherever there's a need for music, the bass angel of love will appear. The Prince of Mercy will always be there.
Okay. Now let me ask you before we go to commercial break, who are some of the people that that you have worked with?
Over the years, wow, it's a list of who's. I've worked with the Manhattans. I've worked with Shaka Khan. I've worked with Bootsy Collins. And
How was it with Bootsy? Oh my goodness.
Well, Bootsy is not the person that you actually see on stage. I mean, the colors and some of the wildness.
Yeah.
When you get him off stage, he's this real quiet, meek individual who barely says a word.
You said Bootsy. I just thought he was here maybe 2 years or so ago or something. And I mean, it was just like people were all over the place at this certain concert on the North Side. And I'm just like, I just wonder. I was just curious of what goes on behind stage, backstage with them. Is they just this wild group or what?
Yeah, that's him on stage. But when you get behind stage, he's very humble. He's very quiet. He's an approachable person, and he will talk to anybody.
So how was it working with him, though?
I enjoy it. I enjoy working with him. I also enjoy working with Confunction when I was at Mississippi Valley State University. And I think I really enjoyed working with them because it was a mutual respect for our talent.
Okay. Now, who would be your dream to work with? Who would be someone?
Oh, that's simple. Earth, Wind, and Fire.
Why did I know you was going to say that? I don't know why. I knew you was going to say that.
It would be Earth, Wind, and Fire, and it would be great to perform with them on stage, but you know what would be even greater? Just to have a one-on-one sit-down conversation with Maurice White.
Well, that's going to happen.
Yeah.
You just got to keep on pushing. You run into something. You run into them eventually, right?
Yes.
Especially with the CD, the new CD out.